I would like to present myself. My name is Rolf Ritter. I'm from Switzerland originally. I have been working almost all of my career in technology as an executive for the last couple of years. Before I started People as a Service, I managed a $160 million technology company in IT technology development, production, sales through large companies like IBM, HP, Fujitsu. And while working with those companies, I realized something very important, something which is important, I believe, for every one of us trying to build something, working somewhere, doing something, but as well for companies in itself, meaning how they can become better, how they can get ready for the future. And that is, it's one of the key issues in companies in order to evolve is the employees and the employment structure they have in place. Basically, I was always fascinated when we went through changes, when we went through strategic opportunities, how it was difficult to get the right people at the right moment in the right place. We usually had enough people, but they were either not the right ones or different qualifications or not available at the time. And then for what we wanted to do strategically, we wouldn't have the right fit there, even though a lot of people were actually underemployed or qualified in something very different. Coming from that, I started about 1.5 years People as a Service. And I would like you to make a small step back, and I go back to the presentation now, and see where we're coming from and what we try to achieve, and then go into what this means for you. So if you look at the market for work, basically it's broken. If you look at companies as structures we have today, they're highly inefficient. Specifically, if you go into larger organizations, you have lots of people basically sitting in their offices, going to meetings, being in their cubicles, but what they were hired for originally today is not really needed in that sense anymore, or changing market condition, it's not the right talent you have. And on the other hand, you have people which do have the right talent for what you need today, but they're so overstretched, they don't get those things done. So you're a constant situation in companies that you have too much people and not enough people at the same time because the mix is not the right one. But you hire those people for long-term contracts. So as a company, you don't actually have the flexibility to get things done. So there have been structures being built on top of that, which allow managers to manage those companies easily, but which for the talent underneath actually means, and that's the second part of the equation, it actually means that talent is wasted. The talent is being hired, and I worked a lot with the companies, large IT companies like IBM, HP, etc. And it was, for me, hard to understand and to believe how so highly qualified people have become so disinterested or unmotivated in their job over time. They have been put into cubicles, put into meeting rooms over years and years and years, until basically their spark they had originally is not really the spark anymore for what they could produce in the company. They might use their talent somewhere else. So we have the situation today that on one hand, companies are highly inefficient on what's their workforce, and on the other hand, you have talent which is actually not being used in the right area, and people get unmotivated. People basically don't use their best time and energy anymore for productive purposes. And then we have a new tendency which has been coming up in the last couple of years, and we read a lot about it, we talk about it, the so-called sharing economy, and Uber probably being one of the most prominent examples in the sharing economy. And what that means, and what that means for what we're talking about, I come a little bit afterwards, but what that means in general, you have the sharing economy. What it tries to do is basically use underutilized assets and bring them to use. So for example, like Uber, you have a car, you have time to drive, somebody else needs a ride, so let's bring those two together and have an underutilized asset being the car and the time of the driver being put to use for somebody else who needs a ride. Or Airbnb, same thing with a room. You have a spare bedroom, you rent it out just like a hotel room. So what Airbnb does, brings those two together, the one who needs a place to stay with the one which has a bed, let's say like this, and brings those two together. And this has become possible thanks to new technology and services and cloud-based services, which allow to bring technology together at an extremely affordable price and with extremely high performance. So these marketplaces can start to operate and build up new content. Going one step further, looking at the workplace, you have a complete new generation of people now coming into the workplace. And these millennials or Generation X, which is or comes into the workplace, they have a very different expectation of work and a very different expectation of how companies can help them fulfill their dreams. They're not anymore as today's older generation with the ambition to go into one company and live all their economic life through that single one company. Their ambition is to fulfill their dreams. Their ambition is to make a mark in the world. Their ambition is to change something they can do. And more and more and more of the new workplace is that kind of workers' talent which wants to have a different concept of how they want to work. And if you look at it today, it's according to Forbes, there's already today in the US, UK, and Canada about a quarter of the people which somehow participate in the sharing economy. Looking at the freelance market, looking at the workforce, there's over 50 million people in the US today which already do some kind of freelancing work. It doesn't mean that they work only as a freelancer, but some part of their talent, they put it on the market as a freelancer in order to find work which passionates them, find work which helps them to pay the bills, whatever the reason might be for it. But already a large portion actually of the population today is in the sharing economy as such. And what that means for the future of work, if you suddenly have a completely more flexible environment of people who want to work and people you can access to work, you can start building much more dynamic organizations. You can start building organizations which are capable to adjust very fast on whatever you need. You have a project, you have a concept, you have an idea, you will find the person available, the talent available through such concepts as virtual marketplaces, and you can build much more dynamic organizations around those concepts. And for the talent side, it means that I don't necessarily have to look for a company, for a job which is around the corner where I can drive to the office every morning and drive back home every night. I can look for opportunities which are exactly within my talent, within my ambition, within my interest, and those opportunities might be anywhere in the world, which as well means on the other side for companies, I certainly don't have a couple of thousands or tens of thousands of candidates for a specific job I want to get done. I have millions of candidates all over the world which could be capable to do this job. And the more we move into the sharing economy for work, the more companies and individuals will be able to take advantage of those concepts. That's what we will bring to the market. So we have on one side companies which need to get things done, and you have on the other side people which have the time and the talent to get them done. But that this works, it's if you look at yourself, you want to get something done, it's not so easy actually to know, well, who can I trust to do this job for me? Who is the right fit for this specific job I have today in order to give this job to that person? Since I don't necessarily know that talent, I haven't worked with that talent before, it can be very hard to find the right talent and integrate it. And that's what we do, that's what we bring to the marketplace. That's what we do to fix the broker market of work. We are the broker, if you like, in the middle between the jobs companies want to get done and between the global talent of millions of people which are capable to do those jobs. And we can do this by bringing trust to the equation. And this works by basically two concepts, and we have added a third one to it in order to make it even stronger on the quality perspective. The first part is we work with the companies, we understand what the companies need, so we can help to define what has to get done. This is the key ingredient in order to get something done successfully. You have to first understand and define well what you want to get done. If you don't do it well, there's a risk that the person doing it will have a misunderstanding and that the result will not be done well. And if you don't do this very often, there's a risk that you don't actually know how to do this properly. So we help our customers to define the job correctly so it's possible to use that global workforce to do it. And then we assign or we propose one global talent to get that job done. So we know the freelancers we work with. We try to work with as few freelancers as possible, so we have a good experience what those freelancers are capable of. So have a good experience where their weaknesses lie as well, so we can make a best match between the job we understand and the freelancer we know and bring those two together. This in itself already assures pretty much that you're going to have a good result. But then we do a third step more, which is we work during the delivery of the job or the project, both with the customer and with the freelancer, to make sure that the project is being delivered correctly. This allows for a company to delegate any kind of job that can be done virtually, basically with one click, saying, I need to get this done. Since we know and understand the kind of jobs and we know and understand the customer, we can help to define this project correctly, and we know those people to assign to it, so the customer doesn't have to go through hundreds and hundreds of profiles to try to find the right fit. We will assign one freelancer we think is the best fit, and if the customer thinks, yeah, I'm not sure, we assign others. But basically what we want to do is we want to make that process as easy as possible for the customer in order to get the best result with the least necessary input from the customer side. So if you look at the kind of jobs that can be done virtually, and every day more jobs are added to it. If you go back 10 to 15 years, jobs you could do virtually, meaning jobs you could do with people which are not physically with you, this was a pretty difficult, cumbersome work to do, and it was very time consuming, so it limited itself to very few jobs. There were things like full IT outsourcing, which was done in the very beginning, and there were other jobs which were added to it. But nowadays, there's so much more you can do virtually. Nowadays, more value creation is done by brain power, and a lot of that can be done virtually. Here are a couple of examples, things we have worked with our customers, things we have done. So one which we do very often, social media strategy. So if you look at the business today, it doesn't matter what size, it doesn't matter what stage you are in. Social media is a very important tool to have a good visibility of what you do, what you want to achieve, and as well to allow customers which are interested to engage to get more information about what you're doing. So what we do here is we help on the web design, we help on the web programming, the maintenance of all that information. We help to make search engine optimization, so depending on what your service is, that you come very high on the search engines to be found. And we maintain the whole social media sphere with posting, follow up if people are interested or if people want to communicate with you, to build this relationship with people which actually interact, with the goal to increase visibility, with the goal to find additional customers, with the goal to get a better trust from your customers through those different strategies. Then we have a total different area which is highly connected in some parts, and in other parts it's not so much, which is the whole writing side we do. We have projects where we help customers write books, where we write blog posts, newsletters, where we do translations from one language to the other, where we do overnight translations for internal communication, which has to be done very quick, where we do content for website, etc. So the whole area of writing in different languages, from creative to non-creative to technical to translations. And then a third area as well, highly connected to the other two, which is the whole area of design. Web design as a basis to start out to do a web programming project, or even logo design, book cover design, newsletter design. So the whole area of design in order to get a professional look and feel of the company, be it in the social media sphere, in the website, or on products, brochures, etc. you want to give out. So if you look at this first page of jobs which can be done virtual, these are all things which you can go to a local agency, to a marketing sales agency around the corner. But as for many small, medium-sized companies, this is just not affordable. What you can do now through the concept of the sharing economy of work, you can go to global freelancers which are highly qualified to do this job, which are highly motivated to do it, and are able to do this for a very accessible price overall. Other concepts you can do virtually today are on the technology side, so any kind of programming, things which have been done already for quite some time. But the difference today is that programming has become so much more powerful, if you like, in the tools that can be used. So nowadays, even a medium qualified programmer is capable to build highly sophisticated applications, be it web applications, be it app development, be it other kind of applications you can do, which suddenly opens up the pool of programmers not to a couple of thousands of very highly paid people. It opens it up to millions of people all over the world which have very good qualification, but they don't have to have this excellence as we needed only 5 years ago in order to develop those kind of things. You can do today highly sophisticated app developments based on libraries, based on programming tools, which can be programmed for a very low cost by somebody which has good experience but doesn't have to have this 10-year expert experience anymore, and you will have a very, very good result to it. Then on the sales side, we work with a lot of customers to generate new sales for them, be it from finding potential leads, contacting those leads, be it through telemarketing, email, follow-up, sending information, etc. So building the sales pipeline or even closing on the sales pipeline. Everything things you can do in different concepts and price levels. So for example, in telemarketing, we work with telemarketers which are local, meaning local native speakers, US, even regional US, so calling with a certain regional know-how to the customers, or overseas professional telemarketers which have a flawless accent but are not native speakers and can do this for a total different cost perspective than local. So depending on the project and the concept you need, different kind of solutions can make sense. Even in the same project, different kind of solutions can make sense. Starting out with going through the database with a low-cost telemarketer, then for closing the deal with a higher-cost telemarketer, etc. Or on the administrative side, specifically small companies, we spend a lot of time on administrative tasks which just have to get done, but in the end, it could be done as well by somebody else, like on the accounting side. CPA, usually we use somebody external, but the information has to be prepared in a way that the CPA can do this very fast, very quick. So we have as well CPAs we work with, virtual assistants, web research, data cleaning, long databases which have to clean up, etc., etc. And this is just, let's say, a snapshot of projects we have worked on, and it's not even complete. And there's many more things which can be done virtually. And if you think about the things you do every day, I'm sure there's other things you see as well where somebody could actually help you if you had somebody who could delegate these kind of jobs easily too. So you might have heard of other kind of platforms. You might have heard of other freelancer platforms or vertical platforms like 99 Designs or Elance Odesk, which now is called Upwork, or Guru or freelancer.com or whatever. And here just a short overview, how are we different than what they propose? And the main difference in one word is basically they're a self-service concept. That means everything is up to the customer to use those platforms. What those platforms do is they give you a long list of freelancers or solutions, but it's up to the customer to choose the right one. It's up to the customer to do the follow-up. It's up to the customer to ensure that they get the right result out there. So what that means is if you don't use a freelancer for many projects or for over and over and over again, the investment on finding the right person and the risk you still have by using that person is relatively high. So it makes sense in some areas if you have critical aspects, if you have things which have to be done in a certain time with a certain quality, or if you just don't have the time to go over dozens and dozens of profiles, making interviews, calling those people, asking for test projects, then this solution will not work for you. What we do different, and our main concept is to make life as easy as possible to delegate the job for the customer, is we try wherever it's possible to do it for you. So we help you post a job. You have to say what you want to get done, but then we make sure that the definition is done correctly, that the information is there correctly. So it's easy for the freelancer to understand what has to be done, and it's easy for him as well to decide if he's the right person to do it. Then we select the freelancer for you. And we select the freelancer for you, we know somebody we have vetted, somebody we have worked with, somebody we have made projects with, somebody we understand very well if this person is a good fit or not for that project. So basically what we do is we propose you one single freelancer. We don't propose you dozens of freelancers, we propose you one single freelancer. You can basically say, yes, I like the freelancer and take the choice to use it, or if not, we can propose you others. You still decide if that's the right freelancer for you, but we only propose you one. Then in the project, as I mentioned before, we do the follow-up, we do the review, you receive the results, you still accept the results or not, so you say, yes, I like the results, or no, I don't like the results, and then depending on your acceptance, we make the payment to the freelancer, so we take the administrative process, if you like, in order to get the payment done. And we can do this through our unique subscription model. Not like every other platform which has a markup model, meaning if the freelancer gets $10, the platform gets another $1.50, $2, depending on the platform, on top of that for their services. So they have an interest in order to sell as much as possible or as expensive as possible to you. We don't do it like this. We work on a monthly subscription-based model. It's kind of like a membership fee, if you like, in order to become part of our service. And then no matter how many projects or how much you do, we do not charge anything on top of those projects, neither to you nor to the freelancer. So we have an interest to give you the best value for your money, so you stay a monthly subscription customer to us. So we will propose you a freelancer which is the best price for the qualification you need, and we will work with the freelancer within the project in order to make the project as affordable and as high quality as possible for you. We have no interest to upsell, we have no interest to propose you an expensive freelancer, and with that concept we are able to propose you just one freelancer for your project, so don't have to put time on you to evaluate and to decide which freelancer to take, because we can assure with this that we're going to give you the best solution possible on the market. To sign up, so if you think that's something for you, if you like the process, you can either contact us or you can go directly into the system. So you go to peopleasaservice.co, you go to the sign up part as a customer, and you can either sign up with your own information or you can sign up through your LinkedIn profile. It's a little bit faster through the LinkedIn profile, but both of them is pretty straightforward. And once you sign up, you get to a screen where you can manage your current jobs, add new concepts, and you can choose the kind of subscription you want. So you go to the profile, go to subscriptions, and decide if you want to start up with a test subscription, which I would highly recommend to you to start with a test subscription, so you can work with us for 2 months, you get all the services you need, and you can see if this is really a value proposition which makes sense to you for an extremely affordable price. Once you decided for your subscription, we start with the project, help you define it, give you freelancers which make sense for that specific project, and help in the follow-up to get those projects done. So that's, as promised, not more than half an hour at the end of the presentation. If you have any question, please contact either myself or Adriana, which works with me on those concepts. You can send us an email, call us, write to us, or you can follow us as well on our social media areas to get more additional information or to get in contact with us.